and Lara on WNYC, live from the Greene Space today. And when we're live in the Greene Space, you can watch us do the show as well as listen. We stream live video from here, which you can see at WNYC.org or on the WNYC Facebook page. Now, many of you know Chris Thile as host of the public radio variety show Live from Here, which we air on Saturday nights here on WNYC. Long-term fans will recognize it as the next-gen A Prairie Home Companion. Maybe you know his Song of the Week feature, often topical, like the song Waltz for Comey, or the one called St. Michael about Michael Cohen. I think we're going to hear something along those lines shortly. What you may not know is that Chris Thile is a multiple Grammy-winning musician and songwriter, a 2012 MacArthur Fellow, no less, and you know the old line, good enough for folk music? It definitely does not apply, because he is also currently the 2018-2019 Richard and Barbara Debs Composer's Chair at Carnegie Hall. Carnegie Hall!
Practice, practice, practice!
He joined his first band, Nickel Creek, when he was less than 10 years old, and he's been collaborating with artists on all sorts of different musical projects since, including Yo-Yo Ma on the award-winning Goat Rodeo Sessions. He's also a member of the progressive bluegrass band, the Punch Brothers. And while Live from Here is stationed for December at the Town Hall here in New York, we are lucky enough to have him drop by the Greene Space to talk to us today, accompanied by his mandolin. So please welcome Chris Thile.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
What is this composer's chair at Carnegie Hall? Is it an actual chair?
I was hoping maybe they would give me one of those, you know, those Ames reclining chairs that are so nice. You could have them in walnut, or maybe you could put a little plaque like "This is my Deb's chair." Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, very mid-century.
No, there's
modern.
no chair. I still have to sit in my little plastic armless chair in the studio. It's disappointing, to say the least.
Very disappointing. I see the residency focuses on the this from the Carnegie website, the unique art of a performing composer, as well as the evolution of collaborative composition. Do you write music collaboratively?
As much as I can. I mean, I love what happens. I think that's when you're putting yourself in the best spot for the possibility of transcendence. That you're trying to get outside of your own perspective, which I mean I think that's one of art's noblest aims, is to just lift us out of ourselves, to kind of like switch on a new camera in the the bio doc that is our life.
So what kinds of concerts does that lead to in the Carnegie Hall residency?
So far we've done, let's see, we did a concert of all songs of the week, not all of the songs of the week, but a smattering of them, with a bunch of the people who would kind of help me extract them from my brain.
Those are the topical ones, right?
Yeah, these are a lot of the topical ones. The song that I'll play in just a second was one of those. And then I did a solo thing up there, so kind of veering away from the collaborative thing. Although also I think all collaboration, or all composition is collaborative. If you think about the fact that, I mean, unless you really just appeared as a musical being and have never heard anything in your life, then you're collaborating with the width and breadth of what came before you.
And since the Michael Cohen sentencing is taking place right now, I think
what's happening?
We won't probably get an update from Richard Hake before the end of the show, but then we'll get one on the 12 o'clock news. But because of the timeliness of that, you're going to perform that song about him, I understand. You want to set up St. Mike?
Yes. So, round about the first wave of all of this, when we were hearing about Cohen's various shenanigans and in the context of our leader's various shenanigans, I was sitting in a coffee shop, as I am wont to do during these weeks when I have to write a song, potentially about what's going on. I'm just reading about everything, and the name Michael gets stuck in my head. I'm going, Michael, Saint Michael. Remember Saint Michael, the Archangel Michael? Archangel, he's a guardian angel.
I'm not up on my archangels.
It's okay.
That much.
It's okay. Those of us who with sordid fundamentalist Christian upbringings, such as myself, may still remember Michael as the Archangel Michael, a guardian angel. You could think of him potentially as a fixer angel. And so that's where the idea for this song came around.
All right, can't wait to hear it as Chris moves from his chair to stand up at
This is an action interview.
the voice mic and the mandolin mic.
All right. Last night a certain gentleman was up too late, watching certain anchormen and women speculate whether it was if the gentleman would meet his fate or when. He sighed, turned the TV down and undressed for bed, took his hair off its precarious perch upon his head. Then he folded his mighty hands and this is what he said. Please, oh please, Saint Michael, don't you even think of leaving me like a sitting duckish kitten up a cherry tree for Washington to put a hatchet in eventually. I'll be damned if I can tell a lie from the truth anymore. Saint Michael, shut the door on God and everyone. Oh, I don't want to have done the things they say I've done. Be a pile and find a river for the smoking gun. I'll be damned if I can't tell a lie to the powers that aren't me. Saint Michael. And then the gentleman yawned and he got underneath the covers and he thought of his treacherous lovers, all his beautiful treacherous lovers. And when he finally succumbed to his cocktail of Fox and Ambien, he was visited by his champion, and his champion sounded sad, so sad. Don, I've been through it all with you, and I know what you're going through, but I've gotta do right by my wife and my. Then the gentleman woke, says, I'll stop you right there, Mike, I know you've got a life, you know that I don't care. I can't believe you'd even think of leaving me like a sitting duckish kitten up a cherry tree for Washington to put a hatchet in eventually. I'll be damned if I can tell a lie from the truth anymore. Saint Michael, shut the door on God and everyone. Oh, I don't want to have done the things they say I've done. Be a pile and find a river for the smoking gun. I'll be damned if you can't tell a lie to the powers that are in me, yet are still allowed to be. Give them something to believe, Saint Mike. I know you're there, getting richer by the second just to hear my prayers. Cheese and crackers, Mikey. Now I know you won't desert me in my hour of need, on a yacht being dismantled by the stormy seas. What you got me doing as he pleases.
Mike. And we'll continue with Chris. We'll talk more. He'll play again. He's going to do an instrumental on the mandolin. He's such a virtuoso. As we continue with Chris Thile, host of Live from Here in the Greene Space on WNYC. Stay tuned.
And I'm living in a neighborhood that's predominantly Jewish, so if I saw one brown person that looked like me, we came running towards each other like in slow motion, like in an old love story. A black person!
Join us next time for more true stories told live. This week, stories about courage and guts. That's the Moth Radio Hour from PRX.
Tonight at 8 on 93.9 FM, WNYC.
WNYC supporters include Earth Justice, environmental attorneys who sue big polluters and government agencies that foul our air and water and ignore laws that combat climate change. More at earthjustice.org/fight. Earth Justice, because the Earth needs a good lawyer. The John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, helping public radio advance journalistic excellence in the digital age. Knight Foundation believes informed and engaged communities are essential for healthy democracy. More at knightfoundation.org. The Vital Projects Fund and the Museum of Modern Art, where the critically acclaimed retrospective Bruce Nauman Disappearing Acts is on view at both MoMA in Manhattan and MoMA PS1 in Queens. More info and tickets at MoMA.org.
If you believe democracy requires a free press, your station is WNYC, 93.9 FM and AM 820, NPR News and the New York Conversation.
Brian Lehrer on WNYC, live in the Greene Space. You can watch us as well as listen to us when we're live in the Greene Space. The video stream is at WNYC.org or the WNYC Facebook page. So happy to have Chris Thile, host of the public radio program Live from Here, with us in the Greene Space today. He's going to play again in a minute. You won the MacArthur Fellowship, the so-called Genius Grant, in 2012, but I read that it took you a bit longer than it might have for you to learn about your MacArthur grant because you thought it was a robocall?
Yeah, I mean, who answers their phone when they don't recognize the number in this day and age? This like, sketchy Chicago number keeps calling over and over again. And I'm like, oh man, someone's definitely trying to either get me to buy something or vote for something, or I don't know. So yeah, I was in the car with my mom, driving from I've been visiting them up in Murray, Kentucky, driving to a show in Nashville, Tennessee, and just didn't answer the thing. And then the guy finally leaves a voicemail, and that was even sketchier. Because he's like, Chris, this is, some the kind of muffly name. He says, I have something that may be of interest to you. And so please call me back. I'm just like, oh, hell no. So eventually, he calls back a couple more times, and I had a manager look up the number, and he was like, "It's from something called the MacArthur Foundation." Ah. And I was, yes, exactly. And then,
and it's not something you applied for.
Call back.
The grant comes to $500,000, and you could spend that however you wanted. Someone told me.
Yeah, let's hit the bar.
Right. Somebody told me you used it to buy a mandolin, like. All of it or most of it?
As one does. As one does when one is a mandolin player. Yeah, this one, in fact.
You want to describe the instrument?
It's from 1924. It was made in the Gibson factory in Kalamazoo, Michigan, February 18th, 1924, that's the date you want. It's like 61 Bordeaux or something. You know what I'm saying? These things, they sound like chocolate. Oh. Yeah, I love it. So this particular date of that kind of mandolin is very near and dear to my ears.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, weirdly, it does. Yeah.
Well, then, at the risk of being anywhere near it, because I don't want to be the one who breaks it, will you play an instrumental for us?
Absolutely. So, yeah. So you mentioned the Goat Rodeo sessions earlier. This is the first first song off of that record. It's called Attaboy, which is in reference to, in my opinion, the finest cocktail bar in New York City.
Remind me when you say I'll ask you. Oh, okay. Now the
Go
mic's
ahead.
back
Yeah,
on.
we're just-
Goat Rodeo. Now that was with Yo-Yo Ma and some other musicians, right? A kind of genre bender.
I suppose so, yeah, but made kind of under the conviction that genre really is like the cover of the book and not what the books are about.
Chris Thile, everybody. Chris Thile on the mandolin. Wow. What do you like to do more? Play instrumentals like that or play and sing?
Oh, I mean, it's just, I like an exact balance of those things. Like, this is perfect. Sing a funny song, play a rip roaring something or other.
Yeah.
That feels nice.
And I saw that when you won the MacArthur grant, you said you're trying to find a middle ground between visceral and cerebral music. What's visceral? What's cerebral in music?
I mean, I guess there's have this this yearning personally for music that kind of engages or almost disables. I'd say might be the thing, like the part of us that is constantly analyzing everything that's in front of us. That's a good thing. That's not it's not a bad thing, but I feel like we rarely transcend ourselves when we're in that space, as opposed to just kind of like turning everything off and letting go. But for me, that doesn't happen unless there's a bunch of food for both of those. For like so something that engages my body and then kind of disables that, and then something that engages my mind and then disables that, so that I end up just sort of floating above the music somewhere.
Yeah, that one was kind of both for me. Do you
good.
feel like that?
I would love to feel like that. Yeah, I mean, I'm over there going, okay, now here's the part where I'm trying to like play the bass line and the melody at the same time.
That's
And
what
every now and then I
about.
get to go like, it's just, ooh, I like playing the mandolin.
We just have a couple of minutes left. I'm sure people would like to hear how you're navigating finding a new audience with the redesigned show, which of course was Prairie Home Companion when you took it over. I think it's only a year now that it's been called Live from Here. So you're trying to keep the old audience and find a new one in addition?
Yeah, I mean, I would just love for it to be of use. I would love for that 2 hours on Saturday or on Sunday, whenever it is that you listen to it. There's this. I feel like there's an opportunity for us to come together. That's a moment for us to kind of sit around this nationwide campfire or like in our parlor with a round of cocktails or coffees or whatever. And then do what people do when they're in each other's company, which is, we escape from the cares and woes of the week. And if we achieve that escape, then we actually are in a position where we can kind of hold them out at arm's length and examine them and see how they feel and see how our take on those things feels in the company of our fellow human beings. To say nothing of the opportunity for me as just a lover of the herd, HEARD, that there's this spot where I get to share things that I think sound really good or are funny or whatever it is, and for those moments to remind myself and be reminded in the presence of human beings that are making beautiful things, that while we are in myriad ways the worst animals imaginable, that we're also the best. That instinct to make a beautiful thing, and once we make it, that our first move is to share it with someone. That it's not a completed process until we're like, hey, check this out. Or when someone does that to us and we receive this beautiful thing, that the first instinct is to call someone up or text it to them, text them a link or whatever it is, to share that beautiful thing.
I have to jump in because the show
is over.
Chris Thile,
done. Safe.
Live from here at Town Hall all through December. Is that live on Saturday night?
Yes, come out. There are some tickets, but they are rapidly disappearing.
6 p.m. on Saturdays?
Indeed.
At Town Hall of this month. Please thank Chris Thile. And thanks to all of you for coming to the Greene Space and everybody in Radio Land for listening. Brian Lehrer on WNYC.